views expressed on this program are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
This show's audio was via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
I just was told we're live now. Okay, yes, everybody, welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Welcome to Transformation Talk Radio. Welcome to all of the above. We got a great lineup for you today. Really, really super lineup. First off, let me thank all of you for tuning us in and turning us on. And I want to say this to everybody listening. We have got some really cool things planned and coming up for everybody. One of the things that we're getting ready to do is make a gigantor announcement about our crowdfunding and our new technology, why we're doing it, and how you can be involved. So stay tuned for that as we come into the next couple of weeks. And, you know, for us, we would love to get your support in this and help us create this positive mojo movement. Yeah. Love it. But today, you know, one of the things I reflect back on to 15 years ago when this all began was how many fascinating, amazing, interesting people I got to interview because I got really, really sick. And I basically couldn't do anything else back in 2004. But my perspective on holistic living, natural medicine, the universe, spirituality, got put into steroid gear. And one of the things I learned about all of that is that there are so many ways to understand who we are, how to keep our bodies like super, super well, and energetically, what does it mean for us to live that kind of life? Today, for those of you out there, I am so thrilled to be introducing all of you to Amy Blackenhorn. And so when I think about what Amy is doing, and I think about the life that Amy has said yes to, it really talks about what this journey has been like with all of you for 15 years. For those of you on Transformation Talk Radio, it's like we're coming up, I think, on 10. But here's what I want to say to everybody. There's so much we don't know. And if we just acknowledge that we don't know what we don't know, we're going to open our minds to the botanical magic. What the Green Witch's Guide to Essentials Oils for Spellcraft, Ritual, and Healing comes to mean in today's day and age, where we have more people that are not well than ever, and less of a solution for how to help them get well. Amy, great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Did I just completely butcher your last name?
No. Blackthorn is such an empowering tree. It's right there for us. You're absolutely right when you say we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
When you say yes to your life, when you reach out and take a hold of saying yes to the things that are out there waiting for you, you have no idea what you can accomplish.
Yeah. You know, let's talk about this. You know, I briefly gave an introduction of you and your work. And I want to start out with a question. And the question really is this. You have written an incredible book. And I'm really going to talk about a lot of what you have in it. But I'm so interested in how you got to be you. And what I mean by that is anybody that writes a book like this, that talks about oil, that talks about, how we step into looking at herbs and peppermint and sandalwood and the power of this and what we can do with it. There's always the bright side and the dark side. I want to know, on the way to becoming you, what challenges, what obstacles did Amy have to overcome to bring you to this very moment, Amy?
Oh, that's such an amazing question. I did have to say yes to being me. 15 years ago, I was in a really bad car accident. I died. I was declared dead on the scene. I was told I'd never walk again. I really had to pick myself up and say, life is worth living. I can sit in a wheelchair and I can feel sorry for myself for the rest of my life. And I really had to say, you know what? I have something to contribute to myself and to the world around me. And I can live the rest of my life. I can tell my doctors that they're wrong, and I can find a way to be the best me that I can, and I can find a way to really contribute something to myself, to the world around me, and I can get back to being the black belt, butt-kicking, me that I was before I dealt with these challenges. And I spent 3 years in a wheelchair, and I spent 2 years on platform crutches, and I spent 5 years walking with a cane. And today, you'd never know that I spent that many, 15 surgeries and 6 months in a rehab hospital, and I woke up with 72 external pins, and I there's so many times that I said, I'm not sure I can deal with this. I'm not sure I have the strength to bust out of my shell, to bust out of this hospital, to bust out of these limitations. And I stopped and I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? I've done harder things. I've dealt with harder things, and I've dealt with more internal strife. There's nothing I can't do. I deserve better than this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Even if it's something like writing a book, we can do these things. We just have to reach down and say yes.
Yeah, I agree. And I went on a healing journey, and I found myself in a place in 2008, I think it was, maybe even 9, where I was looking at a wheelchair myself. And, when you are brought to that place in your life, don't you find that it is truly a crossroads? And we get to choose where we go from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no, someone doesn't bring you a silver platter and say, "Milady, would you prefer the tea on the veranda?" No, it's live or die time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So from that point on, and I can tell how emotional that journey was for you. I love that we get to talk about what something like that does to I don't even want to talk about inspired. Inspiration is one thing, but to motivate you to kick it up and get on the pathway to amazement. Can you pinpoint the conversation you may have had with yourself?
Absolutely. When I will admit I was a stubborn young lady as a very young person. My mom was very motivating as a very young mother, and she was very much the mom who said, anyone tells you something that you want to do that you can't, you feel free to look them right in the eye and tell them, yes, I can. Mm-hmm. So when a doctor tells you at 21 years old that you'll never walk again, you feel free to tell them, you have no idea what you're talking about. I don't care how many years you spent in medical school, you have no idea what you're talking about. So at that point, it wasn't a matter of oh, I feel sorry for myself. It was pure, unadulterated rebellion at that point. I didn't know anything about medical school. I didn't know anything about, orthopedics or any of that. It was pure, unadulterated rebellion. I didn't care who I had to go through. I didn't care what I had to deal with or how many years I was going to spend in physical therapy. It was pure stubbornness on my part that somebody was going to tell me something about myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that I was going to do what I needed to do no matter what the cost.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I'm really struck by as I take a look at this and I read this is that, we're looking at everything from the timing of life, the timing of things, the timing of your absolute healing suggestions, recommendations, solutions, let's call them, all of the above. But one of the things I'm also struck by in the work that you've done is you're not just talking about the body. You're really looking at the entire energy of who we are. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, what we're going to look at is, what is this botanical magic? What is this? What is it in this Blackthorn's book? What is this about Amy's message, Amy's pathway, Amy's discovery that literally can change your life? When we come back, we're going to pick some really cool things. And by the way, if you've got a question, if you're thinking, what the heck am I going to do? I need to have please help me with this situation. When we come back, yeah, we're going to be all about it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you looking to grow spiritually, expand your consciousness, increase psychic abilities? Well, there's a free app for that. Pure Light offers audios that transmit high spiritual frequencies to help you awaken to your full potential. Hundreds of audios created by some of the world's top energy healers, and many are free. Enjoy the latest in conscious technology and download Pure Light today. To find out more, visit purelightaudio.com.
To see your life from an angel's perspective, book a personal consultation with Claire Candy Huff, angelic walk-in angel Ariel at Angel Healing House. Candy provides intuitive counseling, Reiki, and angel readings in person in Los Angeles or nationally and internationally via phone or Skype. She will channel the practical tools you need to transform your life. Call now, 831-277-3716, or visit angelhealinghouse.com. Tap into the wisdom of animals, angels, and masters with Darcy Pariso on Animal Soul Wisdom Radio. Tune in monthly as Darcy brings insights on how to better understand and deepen our relationships with animals. Working with light and pureness of ancient techniques, Darcy, healer, animal communicator, and medium, is here to guide you through this process and provide inspiration to move forward. For more information about working with Darcy, visit darcypariso.com.
Are you looking for the perfect setting for your next workshop or retreat? At Spirit Fire Meditative Retreat Center, cultivating consciousness is what we do best. Our guests count on us to create an atmosphere that supports serenity and well-being. We lead from the heart and create space for the mind. Freshly prepared meals designed with local and organic ingredients, 95 acres of beautiful woods and pastures, and a facility built with green in mind. This is what you'll find at Spirit Fire. For more information, visit spiritfireretreatcenter.com. To find answers to life's questions, you need to look within yourself. Dr. Glenna Rice brings your questionable conversations on Transformation Talk Radio each month. Tune in each month for insight into how you can live up to your full potential. Dr. Glenna is a physical therapist, certified Access Consciousness, and Access Body Class Facilitator. How does it get any better than this? For more information on Dr. Glenna Rice and her work, visit glennarice.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you, Nathan, for doing that. Amy, listen, Amy Blackthorn joining me here today. She's the author of a fabulous book, but it's more than being the author of a fabulous book. You know, when you take a look at what's in this book, this is a way of life. You know, this is about, I've written a book to represent what I've learned about healing, about wellness, about ritual, and about thriving in life. And so today we're going to go on a journey, and we've got 3 copies of the book to give away. But before we do any of that, Amy, what is the best way for people to first get a copy of the book? And also, how can they find out more about you? Because you're up to more than just writing books.
I really am.
Yeah.
I've got a tea shop. I started my tea shop about 4 years ago. And through writing this book, people have started asking for how to buy oils that we talk about in this book, Blackthorn's Botanical Magic. So you can find those. And I'm going to start offering autographed copies of the book on the website. So that's BLACKTHORN'S So you'll see those. And there you can find some fabulous tea to enjoy while you're drinking. You know, drink some tea while you have a reading copy. You can order this on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, booksamillion.com, as well as your local shops. You know, if you have local independent booksellers, your local New Age shops, feel free to run into your local shops and find them there. Definitely run out and figure out how to get to your local shops. For those of you who have ordered your copies through an online store, there's nowhere local to you, I'll also have book plates that are autographed on my website coming up soon.
Oh, my God, that's great. You know, wow, you are like busy. Look, from wheelchair to a wealth of knowledge. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, okay, let's talk about the book, because what I love is when I get something in my hands and I'm trying to think about, okay, this is what's going on in my house. This is what's going on in my body. This is what's going on, you know, in my diet. How can I help create some magical things? And then I have something in front of me that can help me, but not only help me with a solution, but help me help myself and my body become vital again. How did you come about? What was your intention in creating this fabulous body of work?
Being able to connect your mind, body, and spirit into one being. People look at their mind, body, and spirit as 3 separate things all floating out there in some sort of nebulous realm. Your body's one thing. You only got one vehicle to roam around in, right?
Yeah.
It's not 3 separate parts. You got one thing going on here. Being able to drive on through your day, looking at that as 3 separate parts, there's no separation. Mm-hmm. You know, psychology tells us this. Our you know, making sure that you understand you're driving on through this day, there isn't 3 separate things. And the problem is that people look at aromatherapy and they say, okay, I have a book that tells me for my health, I need this essential oil. Okay?
Yeah.
There are so few books that look at the emotional aspect to aromatherapy.
That's right.
This book tells you so much of the emotional aspect of aromatherapy. You know, I worked with a really incredible a master's of psychology, you know, to deal with the emotional aspect of this. I sent this to her and said, look, make sure that this resonates with the psychology aspect of this. Make sure that make sure I'm not breaking anyone when we work with this. And so I started sending her the essential oil blends that I created for this book. I started sending them to her in her practice and saying, look, make sure these theories are good. Make sure the wording works. And then if you're willing to work with these essential oils in your practice, that would be great. And she started using them in her practice. And she loved them. Her clients loved them. You know, there is no dividing line between your body, your mind, and your spirit. So in coming together and understanding that we are one whole being, that really drives people to really understand if you are not ready to do the intention work, read the book. Understand that the emotional aspect of your wholeness is great. Look at the way that we talk about, patchouli for, understanding the grounding aspect of patchouli. Mm-hmm. Look at peppermint's alertness and awakening as you're seeing yourself as a whole being, seeing that balance aspect to your emotional well-being and your safety. Look at lemon for calming, and seeing yourself as a bright and safe, emotionally alert person. Look at lavender for that calm and that peace. Embrace frankincense for the blessings that it brings us, for that spiritual purification. Okay? Those things, those aspects that these essential oils bring us can help us with the book.
Yeah. You know what I love about what you're talking about? And sure. Let's go back in time for a little bit.
Okay.
Many people probably, were not part of the Carolyn Myss era, where she came out with a little book called The Anatomy of Spirit. Mm-hmm. And when she came out with this book, everybody thought, oh, okay, this was a book. But she said something fascinating. And it's the one thing that I remembered, especially with my background in psychology. She said exactly what you're saying, but she didn't have the solution you had. And she said, it's a tissue issue. Your emotions are in your tissues. It's not like you've got the illness just in there. Everything is in there. And so, but we haven't addressed it until now. And here you are, right? And you're coming out and saying, look, we cannot use the word holistic if we're not going to address things holistically, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because holistic does include it. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. We have to look at all of it.
I never cried in growing up. Okay. I grew up and I cried a little bit when I was 6, and then I stopped crying. Oh. And I pretty much stopped crying for a really long time. And then I got sick, and a lot of other things started to happen in my life. But I'm a very good doer, Amy, right? Mm-hmm. I bet you and I are really good at doing stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
But all of a sudden now, and you can listen to the shows I've done in 15 years, and Nathan, I don't think I'll be doing it today, but you will hear me cry on air. Mm-hmm. And I remember there was a show that I did, and I was talking about the emotional trauma of loss. And one of the shows I did was on relationships. And there was a version in my life that I went through, and I could see myself as not okay. You know that song by Radiohead, Creep?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Benny's actually got me on air singing a version of that while I was most depressed in my life before I even started this. But that doesn't help us clear it up. What would you say we need to talk about today for our listeners so that folks understand there is a way to heal our emotions?
Working with not just one modality, but embracing not just the essential oils, not just therapy, not just any of these things, but giving yourself permission to be vulnerable, to give yourself permission to be. I talk about the essential oils in the book, but there's also in a lot of different places in this book, essential oils aren't a replacement for therapy, but they can augment them in a beautiful way. Things like petitgreen, it's an oil of transformation. It's an oil of purification and of joy. These things can, it's noted with banishing depression, and it can help. But it's not a replacement for therapy. But I have a lot of therapists who use these in their treatment offices. there's something called developing a scent trigger. When you smell these things, they're so linked to the parts of your brain that automatically go right to your brain. It takes one scent molecule to be identified by your brain. So if you develop a scent trigger, you smell these things, and automatically your brain recognizes it. So if you can recognize that scent, use these scent triggers, and when you're feeling great, develop these individual smells. When you are feeling happy and when things are wonderful and comforting, and that way when you really need it, when things are awful, when you're having, an anxiety, when you're having a panic attack, you can smell that and you can help reinforce those really needed emotions. It's nurturing and it's helpful, and it can really benefit. It's not a replacement for therapy, but it can really help.
Yeah, and here's what we're going to do, though. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of these, because I know you must have a few favorites. I think I've developed a few new favorites here today, like stuff I haven't even heard about. I've got the book in front of me. Nathan, when we come back, I'm going to start giving away copies of the book. And for those of you out there, listen, if you've got something going on in your life, emotionally or otherwise, this is a live call-in show. And what we want to invite you to do is get some answers and get some solutions. That's what we'll do. When we come back, we will open up the phone lines. We'll start to give away copies of the book. And Amy's going to share what maybe is her favorite, but also what are some of the lesser known remedies. I love lesser known stuff, everybody. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Golden Otter Divinations Radio, where the metaphysical meets the mainstream with Autumn Seibel. Tune in the first Friday every month at 9 a.m. Pacific as Autumn, educator, health coach, and medium, explores metaphysical and mainstream strategies on how to elevate your level of conscious living. Draw in the abundance that is yours by divine right. For more information about working with Autumn, visit goldenotter.us. That's golden like the precious metal and otter like the precious animal.us.
Relationships are bridges. Truly, they are bridges. Think about it. We're all here for our journey, and relationships help us fulfill ourselves, find ourselves, and get to the highest potential. So as you fulfill your dreams, you also give people space to fulfill their dreams. So remember, integrity, respectfulness, and nice, deep love and soft touch is essential for every relationship. So what are we not going to do? We are not going to possess. We are not going to be overly attached and be a tag-on. And we will not unnecessarily get involved or control others. Because when we do so, we lose ourselves, we lose our path. So let us live with love, respect, and some beautiful dignity.
Are you ready to make deep, lasting, transformative changes? Then tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio for Susanna Jameson's hit show, Love, Light, Sound Radio. During her show, Susanna inspires and supports spiritually and health-conscious individuals all over the world to reconnect with their hearts, their inner peace, and balance. Love, Light, Sound Radio. Transformation happens here now. For more information, visit SusannaJameson.com.
This is Debbie Pokornik with a moment for standing in your power. Self-control begins with noticing how different feelings present themselves in your body. When you're feeling sensitive, for example, your chin might quiver, tears might well up in your eyes, and your voice might catch in your throat. Anger, on the other hand, might appear as tension in your jaw, back, or arms, along with clenched fists, heat in the upper torso, scowling, and a strong desire to yell. The more aware you become of your body cues, the easier it will be to recognize when you're on the road to disaster. Choose the emotions that cause you problems, then start noticing and logging the body cues that come with them.
For information and to work with Debbie, visit empoweringnrg.com. That's empoweringnrg.com.
I wish I was special. Oh, we can hear Nathan. Nathan, you answering the phones? Nathan, you're live on air. Boom! I love when stuff like that happens. Oh, my God. You know, there was once upon a time, I used to be like, oh, my gosh, she's on air. Don't cuss. Now I'm like, oh, well. Amy, great to have you here. Listen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. One more time, the website, and then we're going to get into this, right?
Yes, we are. Right. So you can find my teas at blackthornhoodooblends.com. You can find a link to the online retailers that have my book at amyblackthorn.com. And I am so happy to be here talking about Blackthorn's Botanical Magic.
One of the things that I want to say is, this is really, I'm like a new me. I'm like a newbie. And I was so curious about everything. So I started out with the more common things. For example, lavender. Okay. Right? Lavender. It's like I live in the Pacific Northwest, lavender, right?
Lavender. Mm-hmm.
Right. The other day, I ordered neem oil. Okay. So I have evolved, but I still don't understand the essence of neem oil. I mean, I somebody said, get neem oil. I got neem oil. Let's talk about what are your, if you have any, what are some of your favorites? And then what are some that most folks like me, neem oil, what the heck is that? What are some of the lesser known that are super powerful?
Oh, they're so great. So some of the lesser knowns that are still some of my dear favorites, probably petitgreen would be right up there that are still favorites, but still maybe people aren't necessarily knowing what they are. So the bitter orange tree is a close second to the sweet orange, close relative. Petitgreen is the leaves and twigs of the bitter orange tree. The neroli is the flowers. The bitter orange is the fruit, usually the dried rind of it. Mm-hmm. And the tree is Citrus aurantium. So Citrus sinensis is the orange. So we have the sweet orange, or just orange. In the book, we call it sweet orange to differentiate between bitter orange and sweet orange. So we have one tree, 3 essential oils come from it. So neroli, bitter orange, and petitgreen. So when we have the different oils that all come from the same tree, they all 3 have the same associations from it. So we have transformation, purification, this beautiful joy that comes from your gut and you just bursts out of your fingertips and engulfs everything that you do, which means there's physical energy associated with it. You smell it and you just get to go do things. You got to get out of the house and you got to go do stuff, which means it's also really great for banishing depression. Like you just want to go and do things. You don't want to sit on the couch and, as my friends Karen and George on my favorite podcast talk about, it's not veiled practice anymore. You're not just loafing about, sitting on the couch and eating and watching TV. It's physical energy. You got to go and do stuff.
Yeah.
So that petitgreen has the same associations as neroli, which is a much more expensive essential oil because it's made from just these beautiful flowers. Because it's an absolute, which means it's derived from a chemical process with alcohols.
Yeah,
means it's really, really expensive to produce, which means it's also usually chemically altered or it's diluted. So if you don't want to put out a lot of a lot of money for it, and you don't want to worry about it being diluted, you can use Petitgrain, Petitgrain, Petitgrain. So you can use it for all the same things, but you don't have to worry about it being diluted. So it's bright and sweet and citrusy, but it's got this sort of green flavor to it, or scent to it. So it makes it really sweet and green instead of just being overpoweringly. It's not too floral, and it's not too sharp like a citrus would be. But it has all those same connotations of joy and transformation and clearing out the cobwebs.
Wow. You know, I have a question that just came in, and I'm not sure if we have a caller or not. I'll wait for Nathan on that. But one of the questions that just came in, and it's a really super good question, and then we'll give a copy of the book away. The question is, hi, Dr. Pat. You know, I feel at a disadvantage. When I was a teenager, I had a very high fever, and I blew out my smell organ completely.
Oh, goodness.
What does somebody like me do, if anything, to enjoy the benefit of what essential oils can do? Now, I've had that question asked to me before, and I've gotten a variation of answers on it, because some essential oils you apply topical, right? And they have a topical, benefit. But what has been, I mean, Amy, from your perspective, there are people now in the world that have a wide range of problems with their sense of smell, and from the environment, from you name it. So, I mean, what's the solution for that?
Anosmia is definitely a problem with between chemical sensitivities and burning out different parts of the chemical receptors. Anosmia or lack of scent and sensation can be a huge problem. If it's something that's being applied topically to help enhance the skin, the scent isn't the benefit. It's the something being applied to the skin. Remember, we never apply essential oils neat or undiluted to the skin because you can get chemical burns. So if it's being applied to the skin, the benefit is already in the skin. But if it's the scent and you have no scent receptors, I wish I knew it. There's not really a whole lot of repair to be done. Usually, if the doctors haven't found a way to repair that, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to be done.
Right. And that is really something that we've also discussed before on the show, and you're absolutely right about that. But I want to get back to something else you said, and I don't think people know this. I don't think people know how to apply essential oils on the skin, because you said something, I want to jump back to it.
Yes.
And one of the things you said was, perhaps we shouldn't apply these things without diluting them. The bottom line is, I don't think we know that. I think we're applying essential oil to the skin, we're rubbing it in, and we're calling it good. Now, there may be some oils that, for example, I have a friend that has, what do you call it? Fungus, toenail fungus, that thing.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, she just sent me a text message and asked you to ask about it. And she applies some kind of oil, full strength. But give us the guidelines here, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. As long as you're over the age of 12, lavender and tea tree can be applied neatly. Tea tree in very small doses, like if it, in the case of like a toenail fungus or a foot fungus. Lavender is very gentle as long as you're not pregnant. Everything has caveats, just like with anything else. Even as something as gentle as lavender will have those same caveats. So as long as you're not pregnant, And tea tree, it can be sensitizing, so you use it in small doses. People say, oh, okay, well, I heard tea tree is good for, if I have oily skin, so they'll cover their entire face in tea tree oil.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, that can be very sensitizing.
Yeah.
So just a teeny tiny dot, if you have, a pimple, is completely different than covering your whole face in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, using our best judgment is going to go a long way. But those are the only two oils that I would ever consider, and as long as we're using our best judgment. But the people who come up to you at New Age fairs and say, oh, just hold out your hand and I'm going to dump some essential oils into your hand. Just be very careful. Is always the rule.
I mean, it is, because let's talk about what we're talking about here. We're talking about powerful healing possibilities.
Yes.
One of the things that a friend of mine talks about quite a bit is the notion that, and I remember he asked me this a long time ago. He said, Pat, have you ever wondered why civilizations existed and survived early on? Do you ever wonder how those civilizations actually were able to exist despite many, many things that could hurt their bodies? And he was very clear about the fact that folks figured out from their natural environments what they needed to do to survive. They didn't have a prescription to get, and yet here we are as a civilization. And so some of these remedies that we're talking about today are in that genre. Mm-hmm. Others are not quite that much. But let's answer my friend's question about fungus. What do we do about fungus? And by the way, Nathan, let's give a copy of the book away. 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. Foot doctors will tell you there is no cure, there is no remedy, and if there is, it takes forever to get rid of foot fungus. I don't know. What's the answer there?
Usually, someone will say tea tree in a dilution. I'd usually say something like Melissa or lemon balm. It's made from the flowering tops of the lemon balm plant. Mm-hmm. But those already come heavily diluted because that's such an expensive plant. Yeah. So it's going to be much gentler because it's diluted. We're not going to put that neatly on our plant, on our feet. Mm-hmm. And it'll smell much better. It's got that soft lemon scent to it. And you can do that, twice a day as needed. And if it doesn't clear up, then I would go to a doctor.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I have a question for you. We're going to go ahead and skip the break, but let's give away a couple of copies of the book, 1-800-930-2819. I would like to know from you, there's so much in the book. What would be a couple of really lesser known remedies that have powerful healing potential for our day and age? Because you've got so much in here. It's an amazing book.
I really want to talk about in the part for Angelica. When you look at Angelica as a whole, it can be, I definitely want to give the warning that it can be sun sensitizing, but there's a forgiveness massage oil. A lot of people automatically think like lovers' quarrels when they think about forgiveness, but making this massage oil and using it for self-massage to learn to forgive yourself. You can't learn to embrace your best life if you can't forgive yourself for the mistakes that you've made. Making this massage oil and, sitting in front of a mirror or even sitting by yourself on your couch, rubbing it on your arms, rubbing it on your legs, and tell yourself that you forgive yourself for the mistakes that you've made in the past. Rubbing it on your feet, saying that you can step boldly into your new life, that you can step boldly into the life that you've made yourself. going into patchouli and looking at this, there's working for bodily acceptance, that you accept your body the way it is now, because dieting is not a lifestyle. Working with your doctor is wonderful to attain a healthy weight. That's fine. But accepting your body the way it is now is really incredible. It was something that I worked out for myself a few years ago, because my my car accident left me with a number of scars.
Yeah. Wow.
And patchouli is helpful with remedying scars.
Mm-hmm.
So the massage oil that I came up with for that actually is really helpful for scar tissue.
Yeah.
So that bodily acceptance working is really beneficial for helping you accept your body the way it is now.
Yeah. 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 I mean, what you're talking about is, and we should spend a moment on this, please. Acceptance. Somebody said this to me a while ago, and I just thought, okay, really? And they said acceptance is the first step. And, clearly we know that without acceptance, the first step in the 12-step program's game over. We have now heard that acceptance is actually more important than awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're touching upon something in the very nature of it is healing in itself. Now, I'm not saying that this is an easy thing. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be like giving our listeners some weird, notion that acceptance is like breathing.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, no. Acceptance is like breathing in Manhattan. Right?
The summer.
In the summer.
At 2 o'clock.
Exactly. Right? But the point is, once you get it, you have something that is highly usable over and over and over again in your life.
Yeah.
And yet it doesn't mean we're not going to be emotional when we stir up images of events of our past. That's not what we're saying. See, don't you think, Amy, people get confused between feelings and emotions and what we do with them?
Oh,
I don't think anybody is ever saying not to have a feeling.
No.
That's not what we're saying. But what you're providing us with in this book is everything from blessing your home. And I want to talk about that next.
Okay.
How often do we have an event happen in a space, whether it's a home or an office, whatever it is, and we do all the right things to take care of ourselves, right?
Right.
But we don't think about the space.
Absolutely.
What do you want to share about ritual, blessing, cleaning our space out? And I have somebody that just sent an instant message and said, what do I use for abundance?
Oh, my goodness.
There you go.
Abundance is so incredible. Not just for ourselves and our homes, but bringing in that energy into the home is going to be where you want to start. Diffusing clove essential oil, burning powdered clove. You just reach into your spice cabinet and burn it over charcoal incense. The activated charcoal is fabulous. You just reach into your spice cabinet. It's usually right there next to the pumpkin pie spice. It brings luck and abundance into the home. And P.S. it smells great. What we're talking about in the book is quick and easy, attainable explanation part next to the attainable things that you can do in your home. Having that essential oil diffuser into your home is great, but making sure that this is something that you can and will do is the important part. It's great to have a book, but it's even more important to make sure that these are things you'll actually do. The appendices in the back has everything broken up. So there's going to be 20 different things you can do for abundance, for money, from business mojos to, writing your business plan if you want to start your own business. having a monetary do-over. You know, you've gotten in over your head. You've got student loans coming out of your ears. How do you get that do-over? How do you get the money that you need? You know, or do you have a quick and dirty prosperity need that you want to make sure that you have the money to last you until payday? You know, you've been lending money to your best friend down the street, and now you've got a monetary need. You want to make sure you give that friend a little nudge that says, hey, I need you to pay me back. You know, I need some money before then. I've got a little magical pen idea that can help you work with these essential oils. You get a 10 milliliter bottle. You put 2 drops of the essential oil that you're working with in it, and you fill it up with a carrier oil, usually like a jojoba essential oil or a jojoba carrier oil, because that'll last you about 2 years. And put the roller cap in it and give it a little shake. What you've now made is a magical pen. You can write on your candle, whatever you're using, a symbol. So $, since we're talking about money, and burn that candle. What you're doing is you're now sending out into the universe the intention that you've come up with. So in this case, we can use a green candle because we're talking about money.
Yeah.
We're using the symbol of the $sign because we're talking about money. So we're adding in layers of intention.
Wow.
So if we're talking about that prosperity, we could use that patchouli that we talked about because we're talking about prosperity. So every step that we do is layering in the intention of prosperity. So we used a green candle and the $sign and the patchouli, and all we're going to do is burn that. You talked about timing. We can use a full or a waxing moon, and all you do is walk outside and look up if you can see the moon in Seattle. If the crescent moon is pointing to the left, that means it's waxing. It means it's getting bigger. So walk outside, look up if you can see it. There are apps, and the news will probably tell you, there are calendars that will tell you it's going from the first quarter to the full moon, and just burn it. If you can't tell what phase it's in, Friday's a great bet. Sunday is also great. It's ruled by the sun, so it's nice and prosperous. Just burn it.
Oh, wow. You know, this is really walking down the pathway and not having to figure out what the heck do I have to do. Thank you so much for this book. And again, how can people find out more about you? How can they get a copy of the book? And one last question. What's your personal message? What do you want to leave us with?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. Amy Blackthorn Author is my Facebook page. You can also find this at amyblackthorn.com or blackthornhoodooblends.com to grab a nice cup of tea. And my personal message is this book, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm expecting people to memorize, 300 pages worth of oils. This book is a box of paints. I want to teach you to paint in scent. I want to teach you how to do this for yourself. I want to empower you to create something beautiful in your own life. Pick up, one essential oil. I want to teach you how to make 1,000 rituals with one bottle of oil. Find your favorite scent, and this is going to teach you how to do 1,000 things with one bottle of oil. If you go out and pick up another bottle of oil and learn about that too, that's wonderful. This will teach you how to expand your vocabulary, but please don't feel like this book is going to tell you to buy 100 oils and spend $100.
Right. No, I didn't get that. No. And as a matter of fact, I was really, really struck by everything from rosemary remembrance tea to rose water. So, Amy, thank you so very much. And again, the website.
BlackthornHoodooBlends.com.
I love it. We're going to take a short break, everyone. And you know what? You've heard a bunch of things on the show today. Make sure if you've missed anything, you catch the replay tonight, and the podcast will be up in our archives tomorrow. We're going to take a short break.